The member for Lindsay.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Treasurer. Will the Treasurer update the House on how the government is supporting investment, economic growth and jobs in our transitioning economy by encouraging innovation, investment and enterprise in Australia? How is the government's innovation agenda helping to create a more modern, dynamic 21st century economy and jobs for more Australians?
The Treasurer has the call.
Thank you, Mr Speaker, and I thank the member for Lindsay for her question, because she sees out there in her electorate in Western Sydney the transitioning economy taking place every day. She can see the businesses in her own electorate and the Australians out there working hard, Mr Speaker, making the transition happen. And today in this House, the government introduced new legislation that is going to encourage innovation, encourage the risk takers, as the Financial Review are encouraging risk takers to become the growth makers, Mr Speaker, and to support entrepreneurial culture in Australia. And that is at the heart of the NISA agenda, which has been outlined by the Minister for Industry and Innovation. As part of that $1.1 billion incentivising package, Mr Speaker, the bill that we introduced today will provide concessional tax treatment to investment in innovative high-growth startups, as the Prime Minister has just mentioned, and it reforms the arrangements for venture capital limited partnerships to improve access to capital and to make the regime more user-friendly and more internationally competitive, Mr Speaker. Some 4,500 startups miss out on equity finance each year. And the economy and the tax system need to encourage and support the innovators to create the new ideas and turn them into commercialised products, Mr Speaker. So what this government is doing, through changes to the tax system, is backing in Australians who we know will innovate and create the growth and therefore the jobs, whether it's in the member for Lindsay's electorate or right across this chamber, Mr Speaker. And the changes we are putting in place are to reduce the tax burden, Mr Speaker, on investment. That's the plan on this side of the House, is to reduce the tax burden on investment, because we understand that if you want to encourage investment, which is one of the key challenges in our transitioning economy, then you've got to reduce the burden on that investment when it comes to taxation, Mr Speaker. And so a 20% non-refundable tax offset for investments of up to $1 million in early-stage innovation companies. And here's one that they should pay close interest to: a 10-year exemption on capital gains tax, provided investments are held for 12 months. So on this side of the House, we think it's a good idea to reduce capital gains tax to support investment. On that side of the House, Mr Speaker, they think they should increase capital gains tax on property investments, on commercial property investments, on share investments, on all of these things through their ill-thought-through policy. That's what they think, Mr Speaker. On this side of the House, we believe that it is important to have a tax system that encourages investment, because that is the key ingredient to support the transitioning of our economy. And because those opposite, Mr Speaker, can't seem to grasp this point about reducing the tax burden on investment, that is why those on that side of the House cannot be trusted to manage the transition that is taking place in our economy.